U.S. history. Do something about it. The Virginia government is complicit in the cover-up of the 9/11 attacks carried out by the Israeli Mossad and the CIA, along with dual citizens inside the United States government. If you work for the government, you're a traitor. 9/11, inside job, false flag. We are the people. We will take care of the enemies that hold government positions. We still have a militia and a First and Sixth Amendment. 9/11, inside job, false flag, biggest treason in U.S. history. Now you know. Yep, put that radioactive phone near your head and close both ears. Make sure you don't hear any truth. False flag, inside job, 9/11. Do something about it, you traitors in government. The Virginia government is complicit in the cover-up of the 9/11 attacks. I've talked to all of the last 3 degenerate governors about this. Actually 4, my mistake. Do something about it. Quit being a traitor. Quit being a coward. Now you know. You've been given an order. 9/11, false flag, inside job. Biggest treason in U.S. history. Biggest treason in U.S. history. How you doing, sir? Did you know that Israel carried out the 9/11 attacks? Good. And you know the Virginia government is complicit in the cover-up. I saw your lapel pin. Don't wear that pin if you're not going to live by that credo. Sic semper tyrannis. He knows. The man in the suit knows. The man in the suit knows. He knows. He knows Israel did 9/11. Everybody in any position of authority in those buildings behind us, they know Israel did 9/11. We all showed them. We showed them the evidence. But they already knew that before we showed them the evidence. We showed them the evidence. We showed them the proof. There's a money trail. There's a cover-up, an active cover-up by the Virginia government. Sir, did you know that there's an active cover-up of the 9/11 false flag attacks by the Virginia government? Did you know that Israel controls the U.S. government and carried out the 9/11 attacks? Did you know that Israeli dual citizens control our banking and media systems? Did you know that? If you did, and you're taking money from the government, you're a traitor. Hey, how you doing, sir? Hey, did you guys know that the Virginia government is complicit in covering up the false flag attacks of 9/11? Did you know that? Did you know that Israeli dual citizens run the United States government through our banking system, and that anybody who serves in this government is a traitor to the Constitution? How you doing, sir? Israel did 9/11, false flag attack. Peace and happiness. Was a false flag attack carried out by Israeli dual citizens that control the United States government. This is obvious for anybody who knows anything. We have proved it. Jeff Wacker, president of the Richmond Federal Reserve Bank, was in on the planning of the 9/11 attacks and is continuing to cover them up. He's an Israeli dual citizen. Israeli dual citizens run every aspect of the United States government. It's not like we don't say this to these people's faces. We do it, and we do it on camera. We get them to back down. We're going to go and we're going to confront the police here in a little bit, and they will run away from us. The police will run away in fear because they don't want to be exposed any further as being traitors to their oath to the United States and Virginia constitutions. So we will go down to the mansion, and I use that term governor very loosely, and we'll let that scumbag traitor, what's his name, McCullough? We'll send his Yankee carpetbagging ass back up north. And maybe we'll do it with him in cuffs. Israel did 9/11. Israeli government controls all banking, controls all aspects of the United States government.
Well, it's not unusual to have equal or more amounts of cameras than demonstrators for especially our. I mean, you should have heard some of the excuses people came up with. I mean, some of them may have been legitimate, but basically, I called everybody out as everybody knows, and I mean, this one, even the people who give lip service to 9/11 are like. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think that there'll be something to show up.
Israel did 9/11. That's the truth. If anybody tells you anything different, they're lying to you. Or don't know anything.
And that, I guess that would be a lie too.
Right? Alright. Hey, did you guys know that Israel did 9/11? Now you do. Wake up out of your slumber and do something. Do something worthwhile when you wake up and roll out of bed in the morning.
Oh, I do.
Man, did you know that 9/11 was an inside job false flag carried out by dual citizens in the Israeli U.S. government? How you doing, ma'am? You know Israel did 9/11, right? You know it was a false flag attack and the Virginia government's complicit in the cover-up. Still playing cards in the Pentagon. I mean, who believes that story? But you still take a paycheck. That's pretty much low level.
It's very liberating to tell people exactly how you feel. And I would never, ever apologize for it. Not once in a million years. This is horrendous. It is horrendous that people work for this government that covers up the false flag attacks of September 11th, 2001, which part of it happened on Virginia land. You know that Israel did 9/11, correct? Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for acknowledging that you know. Okay, thank you. There's another informed one of the people. You know what you have to do? Got at least one more person. People.
Israel did 9/11. 9/11, false flag attack, biggest treason in U.S. history. 9/11, false flag attack, biggest treason in U.S. history. 9/11 was an inside job carried out by Israeli-U.S. dual citizens. Check it out. The facts don't lie. Your government does. And did you know Israel did 9/11? Now you know. Now you've been told the facts. Now you've been told the facts about Israel carrying out the 9/11 attacks. Sir, did you know that Israel carried out the 9/11 attacks? There was a false flag attack, inside job carried out by dual Israeli citizens within the U.S. government. Did you know that, sir? Now you do. Man, did you know that Israel did 9/11? Check into it. You'll find out that that's the case. Thank you.
Check some phone calls.
Carried out by the Israeli Mossad and the CIA. 9/11 was a false flag inside job attack carried out by the CIA and the Israeli Mossad. The people inside the Virginia state government, they know these facts. They know them backwards and forwards. They're covering them up. They've been confronted. They are guilty of treason. The punishment for treason is clear. 9/11 was a false flag attack carried out by dual Israeli citizens within the United States government. 9/11 was an inside job carried out by dual Israeli citizens that run the United States government. You have heard the truth, people. The people have heard the truth. The persons and citizens, they can never hear the truth. 9/11 was an inside job, now you know. 9/11 was an inside job, false flag attack, carried out by dual citizens within the U.S. government. This guy's a dipshit and doesn't know anything. It might be funny, but I'm not joking. This is for real. The United States government carried out the 9/11 attack. The United States government is run by dual Israeli citizens. Look at who controls your money. All you have to do is go back down to the Richmond Federal Reserve Bank. Who runs that? Jeffrey Lacker, dual Israeli citizen. Who is his boss? Janet Yellen, dual Israeli citizen. It's pretty clear, people. Follow the money. You'll find out who rules over you. If you don't know that, you don't know jack. And you deserve what you get. You've been told. Was a false flag attack carried out by dual citizens within the U.S. government, along with the Israeli Mossad and the Central Intelligence Agency. 9/11 was a false flag attack carried out by dual Israeli citizens in high-ranking positions at every level of the United States government. How you doing, Chris?
Good, great.
I'm doing good.
Got some buddies coming.
Good. Awesome. So, I mean, basically, we're just, I think that there's more people coming on this end that I know about. How you doing? Y'all know Israel did 9/11. Yeah.
Hey, get the word out, brother. That's what it's about.
Okay,
Shadow government, private money running things.
Well, yeah, Virginia government covering up the attacks.
Absolutely.
They have, sir, did you know the Virginia government was covering up the false flag attacks of 9/11? Really? Well, check into it because the video cameras from the VDOT, Virginia government, run away, but you know that Virginia is withholding video evidence of the bomb that went off at the Pentagon because clearly there was no plane. Running away. Closing anything.
People are afraid they're so caught up on the hamster wheel, brother. They're afraid to even look towards the street.
Well, then that's why we're telling them, like, they have to know, they know.
Absolutely.
Because the people who actually did it, they've already told them before they did it that they were going to do it.
Yeah.
And then after it, how many times do they have to tell them afterwards?
I mean, it's obnoxious, and they see it day in and day out.
What's that guy, Kerry from Nebraska, who was the original head of the 9/11 Commission? He says, oh yeah, they had this 9/11 attack planned for 30 years.
Sir, did you know that the Virginia government was complicit in covering up the false flag attacks of 9/11? I know you do. I'm telling you that right now. That's why you crossed the street. You're a coward, sir. No flood is coming.
Good stuff, brother.
I mean, that was a little personally insulting, but fuck that guy. Fuck all these people. I don't have anything nice to say to them or about them, except I would never say they're people. If I said that, they're persons and they're citizens. And they work and get a paycheck from people who are covering up the biggest treason in U.S. history. And it's so obvious. It's like, how stupid can these idiots be?
Well, we're on the same page. My tactic's just a little bit different right now. It's all about love and try to meet them in the middle. Give them whatever little tidbit they need to start coming our way. And then once the door's open, brother, it's like Pandora's box, and they see the truth behind the money and everything. You know, politicians haven't controlled our government since you can trace it back to the beginning of our country. It's been foreign money, whether it's the Rothschilds, through the Rockefellers. It's just crazy.
I mean, it is, but it's so obvious.
It is.
And that's fine. Again, I'm not hyper intelligent. I can figure this stuff out. It's obvious. It's like they're under some sort of magical spell, or they have bought into the system, because they will even deny and deny and deny, and then they'll go, so what? I don't care if 9/11 was an inside job. I wouldn't, maybe they'll do to me what they do to you, Chris. So that's why I keep my mouth shut. And then I go, well, thanks for being honest after freaking years or months or whatever, or hours of denying. No, it wasn't. Too many people would have to keep the secret. They're making up lies knowing that they're telling me lies, and they know what I'm telling them is true, until they're beaten down and they say, you're right, I'm too much of a coward to even say what the truth is.
Unfortunately, history's proven over and over until it's at your door. People were just afraid to get involved. That's why it's good people like yourself are standing up, brother. Everyone wants that William Wallace to kind of show them the light, be the light on the hill, like the Bible says. Meeting in the middle to finding that common ground, because at the end of the day, we can look at whatever people have so-called labeled conspiracies, but at the end of the day, if we just focus on the private money, whether it's from, well, I'm not even going to name that'll lead into a conspiracy. Private money rules our government.
Private money.
The shadow government. It's
all private money.
Yeah, it is.
And they make it up out of nothing.
Yeah.
So and people don't see, persons don't see how simple it is to beat them at their own game. I have signed every single document with my current so-called bank account with the words non-assumption.
Part of the problem.
And, after doing that probably a couple dozen times, I get a call from somebody at the bank. I initially set this up with the bank, telling them, I'm not assumption. I don't agree with any of these things. If something comes up on this contract, which you say you can change at any time, that's against my benefit, I will never in a million years to agree to anything that's against my benefit. So I'm signing this non-assumption, and I will sign my name in all lowercase letters with the letters NA afterwards over the word non-assumption. Now they're saying, you can't do that anymore. And I'm saying, I already did. I opened that account. As far as you know, that legal document, which means nothing to me anyways, says my name is non-assumption. Because why do you want to get me to sign a contract that's going to only work for you and only work against me? But that's everything that they want you to agree to.
Every system is about control.
Right.
The more you're controlled, the less you see, and the more you have to kind of live day to day.
Unless your system is allegedly about freedom.
Yeah, well, the system is the freedom. That's what it should be about. I'm a veteran, that's what I fought for. And when you learn the real reasons why you went here or there and did these things, it's disheartening. And I have friends that have lost legs and arms, and they're great men, women, and it was all unfortunately for rich men's greed. Private money, control, power, and. You know, we've murdered how many hundreds of thousands in the name of freedom, like you talked about. I'm just talking about the past 10, 12 years. In the name of freedom, yeah, man, it's disgusting.
Right. But here's the thing, and here's where nobody will do it, and people will even use an effective attack against me, and I never deny it. They say, well, and it's not what I think, because here's the thing. This is a personality. I'm a man, and I'm acting as a man, but I also act as a personality for the camera, because it's an effective tool for me to use. So, like, I'm acting as a man, always acting as a lawful man, and if I'm acting, I'm an actor. So, there's different kinds of being an actor. You know, Silver and I are often actors together. That's how we met Bob McDonald. So,
I wouldn't brag about meeting Bob McDonald.
Well,
I've met him a couple times too.
Well, there's a video of our my third interaction with Bob McDonald. So I talked with him about that, and to Chris Dodd about the 9/11 attacks. That's all I talk to any of these people about. Now they want to say Chris thinks this or Chris. No, what I always say is when it comes down to it, it is a central banking cartel, and I know that you've done lots of everyone. Silver is the one that keyed me into this. Like, so you know, I knew about it, but it was until it was explained in detail that I could digest that people find out everything. It is
and I learned everything from you guys.
Private central bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, which is the American arm of the Bank for International Settlements, controls everything the government does. And they control all the governments of the world, from Russia to China to India, all but maybe Iran, and they still have influence over Iran, North Korea, and Cuba. They still run those governments too. And who runs that? Jewish bankers, for lack of a better term. Jewish bankers. That's all they are. That's all they are.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, Saxe Coburg Gotha. If you say it's the queen, you want to go down the queen path? So-called queen, because she doesn't have anything to do with the High Kings of Ireland and Scotland. But you want to go down that path? Where's Saxe Coburg Gotha? Comes from the same spot. Same spot. That old Babylonian Talmudic Jewish line, for lack of a better term. You know, you can't, because Jewish is just a made-up word, like all the other made-up words, but it's about bloodlines. And the same bloodlines that run the U.S. government, and the bloodlines that run the U.S. government, they make up about 0.7% of the U.S. population. And they run military. Look at who controls the ICBMs from the United States government. Same bloodline, same last name, Weinstein. Who controls the Federal Reserve Bank? Yellen, same bloodline. Yellen, Janet Yellen. Who controls the Richmond Fed? Oh, here, I got one for the camera. Here's my favorite one. This one. This fucking thank you, sir. Thank you. This bullshit. This bullshit.
Dual citizenship with Israel? Is that what it is?
That's the Vice President of the Federal Reserve Bank of the so-called United States of America displaying his Israeli citizenship card. In 2013, he is the President of the Bank of Israel. In 2014, he is the Vice President of the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States of America. But I'm fucking crazy. I'm done, folks. I'm done. I'm out of here. I learned from George Costanza. That's my exit.
That was good.
I know you like stuff. But you know, I mean, that's the thing. Even when I think of even concepts, George Costanza. Look at that television show, Seinfeld. I mean, I could go deep into the Seinfeld conspiracy with what was the guy's name? I'll think of it in a second. But the plastic ketchup bottles. Remember the episode where he had to go to his grandma's house because she couldn't get the ketchup out of the bottle, and they started talking about, like, you see plastic mustard bottles, how come you never see plastic ketchup bottles? Now go to a store to see if you can find glass ketchup bottles. And plastic is nasty for ketchup. It's nasty for mustard too, but whatever. There you go. Plastic water bottles, where I first started remember seeing them. Seinfeld. What was that guy's name? No. It was one of the character that was
Newman.
It was an obscure character, and there were two different actors that played the character. And he was the advisor to Mayor Jenkins. Well, there's a real person that they use this name, and Randy Quaid, the actor, says the real person, who's also a character on the Seinfeld episode, is going around killing Hollywood celebrities. And the episode where George thinks that this particular person, who is the character named after a former lawyer for Larry David, and I'll think of his name in just a second. The episode is that George thinks that this guy is causing all of these problems, and it makes George look like a paranoid lunatic. But this guy is actually doing everything that George says he is. But now, as of, I think it was 2009 when Randy Quaid, he held a press conference, and he said that this particular guy, again, once I get home, I'll be able to Google it. Hopefully I'll
not talking about it.
But this is interesting, whether, if you really want to get to the bottom of it, you can get beyond my inability to, be exact and say, Randy Quaid held a press conference. He named this individual, who's also a character on Seinfeld, as someone who killed Heath Ledger, and was also responsible for killing 4 other individuals that he knew of. I'll think of his name in a minute, but all of this stuff is just such clear. Sir, did you know Israel did 9/11? Now you do. If you work for the government and you ignore that, you are a foul traitor to the United States of America, and you will be dealt with. I think that that's really the only thing we can do, is we have to really start weeding through and sifting out. Like we were saying, we can get, how many people came out to that hands up, don't shoot bullshit? Hundreds, 300, 400. That was a week's notice.
Yeah.
Look at all the crooks and rats behind it on the left and the right. The commies, with the volunteerist, anarchist, libertarian volunteerists, always working together. Always working with different feds, and like we're saying to these particular people, like Nathan Cox. I think I'm probably at this point going to release my private Nathan Cox collection with conversations Nathan Cox and I have had. Nathan Cox, who allegedly outed all this secret police information, and now it's nowhere. I asked the police for information. They don't give me anything ever. They gave him and some other person 7,000 pages more than they asked for. They said they put it online. Where is it? Give it to me, I'll put it online. I'll tell them, come to me and fucking try to take it offline. If you threaten to fucking arrest me and put the hardball on me, fucking try. If you want to come to my fucking house, I'm gonna put out your fucking business, because the only solution to any of this, whether it's our group or any other group that does this, is to form the militia. It means that when anything goes down, within minutes, we can have 50 people surrounding the Federal Reserve Bank and the governor's mansion. If it has something to do with the Richmond police, we can have 50 people surrounding the fucking chief of police. So if they want to come down and pull some fucking bullshit, we've already warned them. How many times do we have to talk to the police on camera? How many times do we have to talk to the police on camera and see them retreat from us? How many times do we tell them, you're nothing but a stooge for treason? And what do? I would never let anybody talk to me the way I talk to them. And I would never talk to anybody like that unless they were the lowest form of human scum on the planet. Which means you're a traitor to your country, you're a traitor to the human race. Man, fuck these people, pretending like they don't hear me. You see Jeff Lacker walking right in front of city council chambers. He walked right by me. I was arm's length away. I said, Jeffrey Lacker, right to your fucking face. You are a criminal. Right to your face. I took your seat that they wrongly reserved for you. They had to delay the meeting because you couldn't come out. Who's out there? Who's in the audience cheering him on? Fucking Alan Schitzis, Phil Wilato, Americans for progressive fucking values, and the rest of the schmucks there at Richmond City Council. Oh, what do those guys have in common with Jeffrey Lacker?
They all come from the same freaking bloodline. All of them. All of them. All of the people that run your government are not like you. They are 0.7% of the population. It's a scam. Quit being a sucker. Yes, I'm talking to you. Don't get mad at me. I'm mad at you. You're a traitor. Do something about it. Quit being a coward.
I mean, what am I supposed... Everybody who knows this, how come everybody doesn't act like this who knows it? They know it's a fucking scam from A to Z. It's a scam. It's an obvious scam. It's the same scam every time. Run by the same freaking people. The same people. Every freaking time. Every time. ISIS. Y'all saw those documents. Y'all... Did you see that document where it says ISIS and all of their clients are either military contractors or the Defense Department of the United States of America? ISIS is the female goddess that they invoked and made a sacrifice to on 9/11. I'm not saying that's what I think is the case. That's what they did. That's not what I believe. That's what they believe. So it doesn't matter if people think that's crazy. That's what they did. The Statue of Liberty, the hermaphroditic goat god, the connection of the left and the right brain, the allegory upon allegory of sexual congress, just meaning, hey, you guys are suckers. We know the secret, and we're going to enslave you through the secret. What did we see on the way down? Kim Kardashian right in front of us. And like, what's the logo on the new Kim Kardashian thing? It's like the ancient symbology of a penis entering a vagina. Look at the power button on your phone. On, power on. Duh, they're playing tricks. It's all there. It's all there for everybody to see. 9/11. Countless allegorical, all sorts of things. So what's the plan, people? I mean, what are we gonna do? This seems to be it. Thousands of people have been made aware. I mean, we all know individuals who type on a keyboard and show up to other events who clearly know and can't deny that this is the case.
Yeah.
So, I'm definitely at least gonna go after these people, but I advocate other people do the same. People start laughing a lot less,
Excuse me, people. You guys know that the Virginia government is complicit in covering up the false flag attacks of 9/11, don't you? And that they were carried out by dual Israeli citizens that make you their bitch, right? That's pretty low level.
I mean, I've always wanted to be in comedy. I wanted to be a comedy writer. So...
You should do it. You should come out to some open mics.
But this is my open mic. And
those people are ready to laugh at a comedy club, I went to one last night. It was really good.
I don't like going out to bars.
Man, I can get you on the stage at the Monkey Bone or the Funny Bone out at Short Pump.
Well,
That'd be
if other
great.
people would do it, if that could be an effective manner to get the propaganda out,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Look at Bill Hicks. He got a lot of
Absolutely.
out.
George Carlin.
I'm with you. I love both of them. But did they ever go as simple as
Follow the money. It is dual Israeli citizens that control every aspect of the United States government. They want you dead unless you are serving them or are with them in being part of their bloodline. The dual Israeli citizens control the U.S. government, and Israel carried out the 9/11 attacks. You know that, correct, man? I think you might be in on it.
she definitely is in on it.
That was weird.
How do you get that reaction?
He was had a different aura about it.
Rich Jew. I mean, I know all the auras. I've been around all of the different kind of rich, ethnicities and subsections of the human population. She was giving off definitely that vibe.
So what's the plan? You asked that, man.
Yeah,
I
what's the
don't
plan,
disagree with anything you say. The one thing that I've tried to do differently, from being in some of the positions, I made a lot of people mad, and instead of bringing them, finding middle ground and bringing them towards the cause, they got mad and they would never look the direction. So I think you all saw that Liberty Movement document.
Yeah.
At the end, there's a solution. It 50, 60 pages talking about what the issues are. And at the end, there's a solution. And it all revolves around private money and government, and repeal things like the Patriot Act and NDAA. And it's not as far out there as you or I may like to go, man.
It'll never get repealed.
You don't think? There's never been a network. In my opinion, since Martin Luther King, the last great thing were the organizations of unions. Now, they went downhill south when they sold themselves to the banks as well, but that was a voice, a collective voice for the American people. And regardless of where it is now, it started out as a good thing, and that's something people believed in. And that hasn't happened in a long time.
Well, I think people believe in a lot of things. I think most things people believe in, including unions, are just... unions is pretty, sometimes they like to put little levels of obfuscation, but, communist Jews, that is unions.
Yeah, I'm talking about the members.
Right, the members.
When they started, it was a belief. Whether they got suckered or not, it was about a belief for something better, a collective voice.
I was listening to the Labor Day programming on 97.3, and they were playing some excellent, folk music and bluegrass stuff, and it was union propaganda. So they take our ancestors, who are the Scots-Irish, and the people who lived in Appalachia, they take our music and they go, here you go, AFL and CIO, ding-da-ding-da-ding, AFL, CIO, ding-da-ding-da-ding, AFL is propaganda. It's Jew propaganda, whether it's run by, suckered, any sort of other people, but that's what it is at its base level.
I'm not going to debate that fact, whether we agree or not. The fact is, those people signed up because they did believe in a collective voice, and that's what it was all about. And since that time, other than, people like Martin Luther King and some of the things he did, we haven't had that collective voice, and that's what we have to do, put an agenda together, and there's one in the Liberty Movement. Check it out, man.
And,
tweak it if you need to, but it's all about private money and government.
We're filming now.
Regardless of where we stand on 9/11 or anything else, if we didn't have the controllers playing puppeteers with our legislators and president, none of these things we're talking about would be an issue, because it just wouldn't be an issue.
All right.
Good stuff.
I'm sorry. Hey, Lewis, how's it going, sir?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
All right, we're starting to get a little bit of a crowd here. Teddy's on her way, too. So, this is it. I guess we'll probably do some, I haven't even started filming yet, so I wanted to get a little bit of a crowd here. Teddy's on her way. So, I want to get some pictures of us, if people are interested. But I'm just thinking about propaganda, as I always do. I want to get some good shots.
People taking action to bring other people together, man. You're absolutely right.
Well, I think we need to get to the point where it's just we start going out armed. We got to find at least 50 people that are going to show up armed and who comprehend what's really going on and how the government really works, and who's not going to pretend like they don't know what we're talking about.
Don't leave anywhere without being armed, brother. The world is a crazy place.
Oh yeah, I don't either. I
know you don't.
But and I know.
I do. Yeah. I live right up the street now.
I don't go outside my house.
I don't have my carry license. That's the thing. I don't know. Yeah. I got.
Hey, watch this. Watch this.
I just think people aren't. I don't know. People don't. want to hear it. It seems like
They don't. You know, we were talking earlier. They're so plugged into the hamster wheel.
Your laws
Bills, going to school, taking care of kids. They
people
don't
want to
want
hear
this craziness, as they call
Your-
it, because it's
your
stepped out of
rules-
the realm of belief. You know, this.
Your rules mean nothing to me. Your rules mean nothing.
I mean,
right.
where's the cop so I can go show him? I mean, I've done this. I'm like, hey, look, you see this?
Yeah.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
Man, you know Israel carried out the 9/11 attacks, don't you? And that the Virginia government is complicit in covering them up? Okay, thank you, nice job.
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to bring, you know what I mean? I don't think saying Israel did it for people is going to help anything, honestly, man. You know what I mean? No, because
divide.
first they got to figure out that it was somebody within us.
They don't have to do anything. They can remain it. And if they don't want to remain ignorant, they're at some point going to have to hear the truth. And I'm telling them the truth right off the bat. I don't mess around with all this other stuff because
I know your style,
then the distraction. It's because that hasn't always been my style.
I don't believe it has.
My style has
I
evolved.
think you've been doing this for a while. I believe it has.
Right,
You know what I mean? I'm just talking to you as somebody
and
new.
the
Yeah, you know
people
what I
I'm
mean?
calling out as feds. I started out years ago following their instructions, and that's how I figured out that they were feds. Because at some points they were making sense, and then you kept finding after you reached a certain point, they were always acting in an irrational manner and leading people down the absolute wrong path.
Right.
And if people don't go along with it, then they're thrown out anyways.
Right.
So why would you go along with anything? If Israel did 9/11, I know that's a fact. Nobody can ever.
This country loves Israel. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I see it on my Facebook all the time. Like,
It's because they're undermined.
It's out there. It's world saying, you know, they're the God's chosen people. And I'm like, how did you get brainwashed into that? You're not even. You have no what? Like, why would you even say that? How, you know, people
If
just,
that means
they're
they're
like,
God's chosen
you know,
people,
well, they
like, they're not
well,
thinking, they're just
Christians.
blurting stuff off. And
If
it's like,
Christians say that Israeli Jews are God's chosen people, then what does that make Jesus Christ or Christians?
teachers that he loved somebody other. Yeah, it's deeply
Killed
in my
us.
head. I'm crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're the people.
But-
You know, not you. We appreciate everything you're doing, but
Because
those
they
are
have
them.
a
You know?
disconnect, and they're persons, and they're never people, because they're citizens. They're subject to the United States government. If you're one of the people, you ordain the government. If you ordain something, you can't ever be subject to it.
Right.
So, like,
How you doing, ma'am? You know Israel did 9/11, don't you? And that the Virginia government is complicit in covering that up. You probably know that, right?
thank you.
But they won't come to stand. They won't come to stand.
That's right. They won't. They won't. But we are. We're out here, and we're like
What building is this?
knocking on the door.
General Assembly.
Yeah.
Fucking know. I don't even know.
Oh, what's the funny
That
thing?
building, I don't know. That's the magic.
They got a PBS studio down there. That's why I go down there and say,
Israel did 9/11 on international television with money paid for by U.S. and Virginia taxpayers. The truth is out there. Israel did 9/11. 9/11 is the biggest treason in U.S. history. If you don't know that, you don't know Jack.
That's so funny. It's so true. I literally came here really just to kind of watch. I don't know. I was hoping for more people. I really thought there was going to be more people.
Ma'am, did you know that the false flag attacks of 9/11 were carried out by the Israeli government and dual citizens within the United States Defense Department?
You get a lot of people. Work. I mean, all you had to do is like.
I bet you know that, but if you didn't before, you know now.
Women for 9/11, blah blah blah. And then that was.
so what I did, man, something like that. Like the same group of people, if we do something like the Fed, we're using stuff. We can have 20 to 40 people out there. Something different. You know, the first time I called it 9/11, we had 500. But yeah, this is all just because it's I'm happy about this. We're gonna get some. You got any ideas? You're gonna get on camera or anything like that? We're gonna do. I think we're gonna blog and do some like filming and stuff. And, I'll probably read something out and have people get on the megaphone and do some commentary. That's pretty much it's gonna be us and showing up.
The only thing that I brought that I felt like doing, if it's still in here, I think I took it out to my kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always travel with mine. Actually, I have another copy of my bag too.
Disabled veterans, but
I mean, that's what we're talking about. First off, the United States. People ordained something that can't be subject to it. But read the 13th and 14th Amendment. That was a big scam. They said that ended slavery, expanded slavery,
America
right.
because
they made clear that it was something important.
It defines
Listen right now, no matter where you're at. So
anyone under every jurisdiction say that they're a citizen, been there just signing away all their songs. That's why I say Black's Law Dictionary does not consider a woman a wife or a daughter.
That's something I don't have a copy of.
Black's Law, it's expensive.
My disability is supposed to come in 20 minutes now, so I'm making
You know where I used to use the Black's Law Dictionary? Richmond Police Headquarters. I used to be a part of this. Sure, yeah. All right, great.
Testing. 1, 2. Greetings, everybody. This is a man. I'm one of the people. I'm also called Chris Dorsey. We're out here. It's September 11th, 2014. I guess there's about 6 of us out here now, and we wanted to alert the public about the false flag attacks of September 11th, 2001, and the fact that it's the biggest treason in U.S. history, that beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was carried out by Israeli dual citizens within the United States Defense Department, but really in every corner of the United States government, and that there was massive short selling, evidence of controlled demolitions, evidence of the Virginia government covering up evidence of the attacks, and now we're touching and banging on the Virginia government's window because we've told every top-level scumbag in this office exactly what kind of treason and treachery they're involved in. So we're just out here. People know this. Persons and citizens, even those dumb schmucks, know this. They've been told. We know that 9/11 was a false flag attack. We know that a building in New York City that had no visible structure fire fell at free fall speed into its own footprint for the first time ever in history. We know the owner of that building, Larry Silverstein. These names are all very important, people. If you can't put this together, you're a dipshit. Gained control of the Trade Center buildings, and in particular Building 7, weeks before the 9/11 attacks, and maxed out the insurance. We also know that Mr. Silverstein is on camera during a PBS special saying that he gave the orders to, quote, pull the building, which in demolition terms means carry out a controlled demolition of the building. That's just one aspect. Then we can turn to William Bergman, analyst for the Chicago Board of Review for the Chicago Federal Reserve Bank. He noticed massive short selling before the 9/11 attacks. That's because the people who masterminded the 9/11 attacks are the owners and stakeholders of the Federal Reserve Bank. They own the U.S. government, and if you're not a Jew and an American, you're a slave to them. See, you're a traitor to America, and I know you won't cross the street and tell me that to my face. What are you looking at? I think you're a traitor, and you should quit smoking, but I know you have some sort of psychological disorder which makes you need to stop cigarettes, because you have an oral fixation. Maybe you are all members of the Lemon Party. I know the Zionist Jews are famous for that. See, I got you guys paid. Enjoy your lemon party. Enjoy your lemon party, Zionists. Stay away from the children, though. I know you like that, too. So then you see traitors. People saying, go Israel. I guess that they are going along with the system, because every top officer of the Federal Reserve Bank, the monetary system for the United States government, is a dual Israeli citizen. I'm not making this up, folks. Check it out. If you don't know this, like I said before, you don't know jack shit. Wake up, people. This is tough love. And the love is going to end soon, because enough of us know about this truth. We are tired of you bilking the system or being slaves to the system. If you want to be slaves, go ahead and be a slave. I'm not going to join you. We need to do something. We will be mustering the Virginia militia on this ground, under the law, Article 1, Section 13, Virginia Constitution. The top law enforcement, government position and organization is the militia. What is the militia? People trained to arms. Who are the people? The body of the people. What does that mean? Anybody who says that they are the people and exert their rights as such, then you are the people. Do not lobby the government. They are your enemies. You want to lock them up. You want to harass them on the street. You want to egg their cars. You want to do anything possible to these criminals in government. Film them. That's the number one thing you want to do. You want to stick a camera in their face every step of the way. You see this? Later, this is the next thing we're going to film. We're going to go looking for these bitch-ass police, and we'll show them running away from us. Then we're going to stand in front of the governor's mansion, and we're going to yell things at that degenerate scumbag Terry McAuliffe. Because if anybody knows anything about the Clinton family and Terry McAuliffe and his treachery to China and his treachery to Israel, you'll know that you belong out in front of Terry McAuliffe's pad with a pitchfork and a freaking torch. That's it. Quit being such cowards. I'm calling you out. Should we start calling people out by name? Should we start calling the feds out by name on the street corner? We've already called them out. We've already called the feds out, the Israeli Jew-run feds who pretend that they're on the side of the people, like Phil Waleto, who says, Chris Dorsey thinks that there's an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers that controls the government. Who the fuck doesn't think that? You know that, right, Silver?
Yes.
But they had all the money for a long time.
Right.
They had corner stores, such things schools.
Right.
They had this. Like my mom.
Preach, brother. Tell us, man.
That's the truth.
They was saying, man.
That's true.
That's what we say now. There's no disrespect to nobody. This is how we talk.
It's just the truth, but here's what
We
we're
talk
talking
like
about.
that. We talk like that. That's how we talk.
Like that guy.
Yeah, that's so.
He's a vice president of the Richmond Federal Reserve, or the Federal Reserve banking system.
Right here,
Well,
You
no,
see?
Jeff Lacker. No, he's the national head of the Federal
he ain't
Reserve.
delegation. What a delegation?
Well, the Fed's down in that direction. But anyway, yeah, they do control the money, and this is
I already know, man.
yeah, right
I
on.
know what's happening. It's not right out here. Somebody got to make this shit right. Once that shit happens, it's gonna be all good. If it don't, it's gonna be some shit.
We're having it right now.
So how do we connect
You ain't seen
everybody,
shit.
brother?
You ain't seen
Hey,
shit,
Daddy.
guys. You
Oh, I know.
ain't seen
Hola. Hola.
shit yet. Really?
I mean, I've seen a lot, but you may be right.
I do.
Teddy Pam,
Yes, sir.
the place to be? Who did 9/11, Teddy?
Our government officials. Our dirty government officials.
Well, that's true.
They're all in the mix.
Oh, this guy definitely holding his dual Israeli citizen card.
Because this what I can
Man,
do
you
for
know
him.
Israel did
This what
9/11,
I
right?
can do for him.
They did. You know it.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's
That-
smiling because he liked it.
He liked it. He liked it.
He does like
too,
that.
baby.
That's what these guys are into.
I ain't had none in a long time. Let me give him some. Let me give him some. Stick your tongue out, baby. That's what they all deserve, and not in a good way, fellas.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Not
in a
the
good
way you gonna want me to
Right.
do it again. You
So,
said.
see, now everybody sees why I wanted to wait and start filming when Teddy got here. We were waiting to start filming for you, Teddy. And we got a little bit of a head start. But no, we're just making jokes, but this is true. I mean, that's Jeff Lacker. He is he's showing off his Israeli citizenship card. I mean, I keep saying it. I keep saying it, but this guy is vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, and there he is holding his Israeli citizenship card. It's 2014 now. In 2013, this same man, Stanley Fisher, was president of the Bank of Israel. Well, now we all know that the Bank of Israel and the Federal Reserve Bank and the Bank of China and the Bank of Russia,
They're all controlled by the Bank for International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland. But the thing is, the banks that are controlled by the Bank for International Settlements, they're all controlled by Israeli dual citizens. All people have to do is look at all of the international and national banks in Tel Aviv, Israel. They're all located, all the most important ones are located on Rothschild Boulevard. Rothschild set up the entire state of Israel. Every government building in Israel set up by the Rothschild family.
It won't even be a dime.
Don't tell me. Take my word for it, because I checked it all out. Believe me. Verify it yourself, but believe me. Or don't believe me, but verify it yourself. It's the truth. So that's what's going on. So if people want to get all bent out of shape, we can replace the word Israeli, Zionist, or Jew with the words Warburg, Schiff, Rothschild, Israel, Moses, Seif, bloodlines. Those particular ones. Now, you can talk about other bloodlines, the Astors, which just stems from those bloodlines. It's it's just an offshoot. Or you can even talk about some of the so-called Illuminati Scottish bloodlines, but they never came any sort of clout as far as worldwide expansion until they started mixing with the Rothschild bloodlines. Again, this is fact. If you want somebody to tell you something that you want to hear, that's part of the truth, then you'll never know the whole truth. But this is the whole truth. Follow the money. Where are all the banks in Tel Aviv located? Rothschild Boulevard. Where does the money from your central banks go? Rothschild Boulevard. Where is the international diamond trade run out of? Tel Aviv. Where is the international human organ trafficking syndicate located out of? Tel Aviv. Where is the... So that's it. That is it. Who runs every one of the media outlets in the United States? Who runs every one of the banks and is the head of the Federal Reserve banking system? Same bloodline, dual Israeli citizens. It is an inconvenient truth, but it's the most convenient truth because all you have to do is take about 0.7% of 0.7% of the population, and that's who controls everything. You're all a slave to those few people. Man, certainly you know Israel carried out the 9/11 attacks. Certainly you know the Virginia government is complicit in covering up the attacks on the Pentagon. She needs to smoke a joint or something. She's way too melancholy. Okay. Yeah,
Bye, Silver.
Daddy.
No food, no fun.
So,
The truth is a joke.
I mean, again, like if people want to get this, so you know Israel did 9/11, right? Then you don't know shit, or you're a liar. Right? Am I right? I know I'm right. Don't fucking lie to my face. Shit! That's a hilarious joke, Teddy.
You're not going to do it.
Lewis,